I left Hong Kong to find out if I could make 10k a month playing poker in America. After grinding in LA for months, I finally made it to the Mecca of poker, Las Vegas. But the games have a reputation here. Some say they're too tough, packed for professionals clawing for scraps, but others say there are still gold in this desert. Who's right? Let's jump into sessions and find out.
Bet it on me, let it ride. Broke white boy, put it all on the line. Lucky me, lit the Sin City on fire. Money on the floor, watch it double 10 times. Bet it on me, let it ride.
Hello, welcome to Vegas. In the first session, we're playing 2-3, a deep stack game at Resorts World, so let's jump into it. First hand here, I think I made 2 mistakes. Under the gun opens to $20, button and small blind call. We look down at ace queen offsuit in the big blind. Normally it's a slam dunk squeezing spot, but at that time, I'm new to the game. I don't want to look that aggressive, so I put in a call in game. I think it's a pretty big mistake. But anyways, 4 ways to a flop of queen h3 with 2 diamonds. I check, looking to do a check raise if somebody puts in a small bet, but unfortunately it goes check through. Turns a 4 off spades. Small blind leads $40 into 80. He's the first player to act in a 4-way pot. He used a medium size. A medium size in a multi-way pot is somehow stronger than a medium bet in a heads-up pot, especially when he's the first to act. So I think his range here is pretty strong. Hands like sets, 2 pairs, or some queen X. And I like to call here and see what happens on the river. Button calls 2, so we're 3 ways to a river, which comes a king of diamonds, completing the front door flush. Small line check. I don't think there is much reason for us to bet here, so we check, and bet is now bet $75 into 200. Small line folds, so what is his range? I don't think he's betting 1/3 pot here with his flush, so I think he has missed draws like Jack 10, 6-5, and here is the second mistake here. He can have 2 pairs like king queen here, but when his range is never gonna be a flush, I could probably raise here, turning my ace queen into a bluff, wrapping a flush to get a range fold even if he got 2 pair. But in game, I missed that thought. I didn't put in a check raise and I call, and he showed pocket 8s. He checks back a set of 8s on a wet dynamic flop. Now we know this player is very tricky and I'm gonna adjust accordingly, playing with him in the future hands. Next hand here, a pro opens to $20 in the hijack. We call on the button with pocket 3s because I want the recreational players in the small blind and big blinds come along. As planned, they all call, so we're 4 ways to a flop of 9-6-4 with 2 spades. Not much reason to bet here, so we check back. Turns a beautiful 3 of clubs. Small blind checks, big blind bet $25 into 75. Hijack calls, and I put in a raise to $150. Targeting in elastic hands like combo draws, nut flush draws, some 9x with flush draws, but unfortunately they all fold. Moving on to the next hand, the straddles on. Low jack calls, we look down at Jack 9 of diamonds in the small blind. We have another side game as small blind bounty, so we are incentivized to play more hands in the small blind. We call, big blind call, and straddle makes it $30. Low jack calls, we make the call, and big blind come along also, so we are 4 ways to a flop of 9-7 deals of 2 hearts. Check all the way to the straddle who bets $75. Low jack folds, we have a top pair here, I ain't going anywhere, so we call. Big blind folds, so we heads up to the turn, which comes a queen of diamond. We check, and he check back. River's a 7 of diamond. I think it's a little bit too thin to bet with our second pair here, so we check, and straddle bets half pot $125 into 265. So what is his range? He big bets the flop, wrapping some over pairs, check back the turn when it comes a queen, so he doesn't have a hand which is better than queen X. So I think he has hands like pocket 10s, pocket jacks, and also he can have a lot of missed flush draws. We have the bonus bounty if we put in the right call, so after putting all the pieces together, I think his range contains a lot of missed draws too. So I put in a call and he says we are good. In this hand, low jack limps, we ISO to $25 in the cutoff with pocket 5s. Low jack calls, heads up to a flop of 5-3 deals with 2 clubs. Look at the sweet baby there. Low jack check, single raise pot in position. I'm just range betting half pot. I bet 25 and he calls. Turns a 9 of heart. He checks again. I would like to target flush draws, some open-ended straight draws here, so I bet $100, but unfortunately he folds. Moving on to the next hand, we open to $25 on the low jack with pocket tens. Cutoff and button calls, so we're 3 ways to a flop of queen 9-8 with 2 diamonds. Single raise pot, multiple players behind us. I'm just checking my range, and it goes check through. Turns a deuce of heart. When they check back this wet dynamic flop, I think we are pretty ahead here. So I bet $50 into 75, targeting hands like flush draws and pair plus straight draws. Cutoff and button both call. Rivers and ace of heart, completing the backdoor flush. We check. Cutoff bets $175 into 225. Button fold. So what is his range? I think he can have flushes and also some ace high flush draw hitting a top pair on the river. So I like to fold, and he shows us the king of hearts. He might be bluffing, but I think the value hands that he got here is more than his bluff, especially when he chooses his big size on the river when there is still a player with an uncapped range behind him.
It's coaching time.
I want to talk about turn sizing here. The flop check through. I like the check on the flop with 2 players in position. Maybe the turn sizing is a little bit lazy here. It seems to me on the turn like you just bet the strength of your hand. What is their range?
They don't have some strong draws. They don't have queen x. They don't have over pairs or sets or 2 pairs.
Okay,
so it's pretty weak.
It's pretty weak. Okay, I've got a AK-47 pointing at your head. You've got to make ace-9 fold on the turn, or you've got to make a hand like ace-6 of hearts fold on the turn. What size are you betting to make those hands fold?
120.
Yeah. We could at least go like 80 or 100 here, right?
Yeah.
You have the best hand here almost all the time, and you should be treating pocket tens here the same way you'd be treating pocket queens here. I don't think guys are folding 9x. I don't think guys are folding backdoor flush draws. You know what I mean? Like, if they have showdown value, they're calling. Just get more greedy.
In this hand, +1 open to $20, hijack calls. We squeeze on the cutoff with ace-10 of diamonds. +1 and hijack come along, so we're 3 ways to a flop of 10-9 deals with 3 clubs. They check to us. In a multi-way pot, I'm just betting my strong hands and strong draws. I have a top pair in a monotone flop. Don't think it's good enough to bet here in a multi-way pot, so I elect to check back. Turns a deuce of heart. +1 bets $100 into 240. Hijack folds. It's not a huge size. We have a top pair here. What is his range? Yes, he can have flushes, but he can also have hands like ace-x with the ace of club, king-x with the king of club, or he can be betting with worse value hands like king-10, queen-10. So I put in a call, and we are heads up to the river, which comes a 5 of spades. +1 continue to bet $100 into 440. Given that the size is really small, I don't think he has a flush here. So I put in a call, but we see the bad news. He tables king-queen of clubs. Oh, he is really kind. We could have lost 100 or 200 more in this hand, but appreciate that. Big pot alert.
Hello.
In this hand, the starter is on to $6, button open to $20. We looked at a queen jack offsuit in a small blind. The small blind bounty game is going on, so I would like to 3-bet lighter here. We 3-bet to $80 with queen jack, straddle folds, button calls, heads up to a flop, which comes king 10-9 rainbow. Look at the sweet baby there. We literally hit the nuts. Normally in a 3-bet pot out of position, I'm checking my range, but he only got about $500 behind. I want to play a 2 straight games, so I bet $60, and surprisingly he raised to $200, leaving him $300 behind. I don't think I have any fold equity here, so we 3-bet all into $500, but somehow he finds the fold. I don't really know what hands he's raising and folding to our 3-bet shove. Maybe he's just attacking our small c-bet size on the flop, but I'll drop a nooks on this player. Even when he is shallow, he can still find bluffs. Next hand here, we open to $25 in the +1 with ace-jack of diamonds. Low jack calls, heads up to a flop of 10-4-4. In a single raise pot out of position, I'm checking my range. We check and he checks back. Turns the jack of spades. I think this player is aggressive enough to stab this turn with his air of flush draws. So I like to check, but unfortunately he checks back. Now I would like to go for some value. What is his range when he check back the flop and check the turn again? I think he got showdown value, mostly some pocket pairs. So how much would I bet to fold out a pocket pair here? Pretty big, because we check the flop and check the turn. I may need to go 3x or 4x pot to fold out a pocket pair here, so I size down, but still putting a 2x overbet into the pot. We bet $100 into 50. He calls, we show our hand, and we are good.
It's coaching time.
You don't like my check on the turn?
You're going for the check raise, right?
Yes.
The problem with these paired boards are, particularly when the board is dry, is that your opponent is going to have traps at a pretty high frequency. They just feel invulnerable when they have a hand like ace 4 or 4-5 because there's no flush draw, there's no straight draw out there. I think, again, this is one of those situations if we start going for a check raise, particularly because the board is paired and there's no front door draw, what worse hands are we getting called by? Let's say they pick up an ace high flush draw on the turn. Let's say they pick up a straight draw on the turn and they get squeamish with straight draws when the board is paired because they don't know when the draw gets there if they're going to be good or not. Problem is when we start check raising here, we can't choose an egregiously large size if we want to keep the flush draws and straight draws in. And they can just have some 4x. And so I think we just get into value on territory quite a bit on these like dry paired boards. I would just come out and bet 75, 80, 90 bucks, targeting worse Jack X, targeting 8, 9, King, Queen. And I think we get value owned quite a bit less and we just get more value from the draws if we just come out and overbet the turn.
I agree, that's true. In the next hand, hijack opened to $8. We 3-bet to $35 on a cutoff with JJ Barea. Hijack calls, so we heads up to a flop of 8-8 for rainbow. He check in a 3-bet pot in position. I'm range betting small. I bet half pot and he calls. Turns a 6 of spade. He checks again, so what is his range? I think he can have some overpairs like pocket 10s, pocket 9s, or some pair of straight draws like 6-5. So I bet around pot $120 into 140, targeting those portion of his range. Hijack calls, rivers a 10 of diamond. He check again. Now we are losing to pocket 10s. If a deuce come on the river, I may put in a big bet targeting his overpairs. But I think hands like pocket 9s downgraded, not an overpair anymore. So I would like to choose a small size targeting his one pair type hand. We bet $100 into 380. He calls, we show our hand and we win. We got owned in this hand. We put in a straddle to $6. Low jack calls. We look down at 6-4 offsuit in a straddle. Not much reason to raise, so we check. Heads up to the flop of King 8 deuce rainbow. We check and he checks back. Turns a 5 of hearts. So what is his range when he check back the flop? Probably he doesn't have King X, maybe some showdown value hands like Ace High or pocket pairs. So I like to check again on this turn. If he puts in a small bet, I'm gonna put in a big boy check raise. But unfortunately, he checks back. Rivers another King of spades. I don't think he's checking 2 streets with his King X. So I'm pretty confident to make him fold out everything. And we put in an overbet, $75 into $12. He snap calls and shows King 9 offsuit. You got me, you got me. Nice hand. In this hand, we put in a straddle to $6, button open to $20, small blind call. We come along, so we have 3 ways to a flop of ace 10 9 rainbow. All the way check to the button who bets $20, small blind folds. We have the top pair, we ain't going anywhere, so we call. Heads up to turn of 7 of diamonds. We check and he checks back. Rivers a 4 of hearts. What is his range when he check back the turn? I think most of his ace-6 is going to continue betting the turn, so I think he has under pairs here. This player is a pro, so I would like to go a little bit tricky here. I bet 10% pot, trying to induce him with a raise. And we got it. He raised to $200. Well, the plan goes well. We seem successfully induced him, so we gotta bear the consequences. We put in a call, and he tables ace 9 offsuit. I think I'm tricky enough, but actually he is more tricky than me. He checked back the turn with 2 pairs. Moving on to the second last hand of this session. EP limps, we ISO to $30 in the low jack with 10-8 of spades. Hijack calls, EP fold, has up the flop of ace jack 7 with 2 spades. In a single raise pot out of position, I'm checking my range. We check and he checks back. Turns a beautiful 9 of spades. Look at that cutie pie. We hit the straight flush, but having the strongest hand doesn't mean we can bet big. What is his range when he check back the flop? I assume in a hazard pot, people usually bet their ace-x when they're checked to. And I think I need to go pretty small here to target hands like Jack X or King X and Queen X with a spade. So I bet $20 into 63. He calls, rivers a King of diamonds. Actually, I think I should put in another small bet targeting the same portion of his range, but in-game, I was kind of dumb. I check, hoping he will find some bluffs, but what hands will he bluff here? Maybe just Queen X with the Queen of spades. So I think checking here is pretty terrible. Hijack checks back, we show our hand, and we win.
It's coaching time.
Sir, what's going on this turn? I can't see straight. Like, I'm not good at straights, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe you have a straight on this turn.
I have a straight flush.
You have straight flush. Yeah, I see. I didn't even know. You have a straight flush. The board's static. Like,
Static wet, yeah.
when the board is static, like, what do players sometimes do when we check to them with top pair?
They check back.
Yeah, go for gold, man. This guy could just have ace 10 with the ace of spades. I mean, he could just have like king jack with the king of spades. Like, these hands are just never folding, right? I don't think we're ever gonna get a raise if we bet small. I'm not sure what hands call $20 that wouldn't call 80.
Small pocket pairs with spades.
Okay, I mean, you really think like pocket sixes calls $20 on this board? 4 overcards and a flush and a straight out. Like, does pocket sixes really call 20?
Now pocket eights.
They can't have pocket eights with a spade. You have the 8 of spades.
Oh, yeah. Okay, no hands.
So just come out and bet 100. River, what are we thinking on the river, sir?
I don't know, but when I saw that this morning, I don't know. I think it's a mistake.
We'll let you off the hook there. Okay.
Alright, last hand of the session. Button open to $10 with 3-bet in the small blind with ace-king offsuit to $60. Button calls heads up to a flop of ace-5-5 rainbow. Normally in a 3-bet pot, I'm checking my range, but this is an ace-high flop. I don't think players overstep on ace-high flop, so I would like to bet myself here. I'm gonna choose the biggest size that I think every pocket pair sticks around. So I bet $60 around a half pot size. He calls, turns the 6 of clubs. For our hand here, we got the top pair and the top kicker. I am no longer targeting pocket pairs here. I am targeting ace-x. So I bet around pot-ish, targeting his weaker ace-x, but unfortunately he folds. Hey guys, here we are at the Bellagio Fountain. I just enjoyed the show and it's so great. Wrapping up the last session that we played at Resorts World, we were playing 2-3 along with some interesting games like Small Blind Bounty and Dealer Choice. I win $480 in 6 hours. And Marco will put my total result here. Thank you, Marco. Have a good night, guys. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's session. Alright, in this session, we're playing at Las Vegas, the Wynn poker room. At first, we start playing 2-5, so let's get into it. First hand here, EP leams. We ISO to $30 in the hijack with Queen 9 of hearts. Big blind EP come along, so we're 3 ways to a flop of 9-7-5 with 2 hearts. Big blind and EP check. In a multi-way pot, I'm betting my strong hands and strong draws. We have the top pair and a flush draw here. Of course, it's a good hand. We bet $75 into 87. Only the big blind calls, so we're heads up to the turn, which comes a beautiful jack of hearts. Look at that cutie pie. And surprisingly, big blind lists $75 into 240. So what is her range? When she lists on a flush completing turn, probably he got flushes. But also, when she chooses this small size, I think he can still have hands like 2 pair like jack 9. So I don't want to alert him by raising. We call, river's a king of spades. She checks to us, so I think she doesn't have flush. And now I would like to target 2 pairs like jack 9, jack 7, and I ask myself the inverse question: how much would I bet to fold out 2 pair? Probably I need to go over pot, so I size down to about a pot size. I bet $400 into 387, and unfortunately she folds. Second hand here, cutoff leams, small blind calls. We ISO to $30 in the big blind with ace-8 of diamonds. Cutoff calls, we heads up to a flop which comes king, queen, jack, rainbow. In a single raise pot out of position, I am checking my range. We check and he checks back. Turns 9 of hearts. We check and he checks back again. River's a 7 of diamond. So what is his range? He doesn't have 2 pair. He doesn't have a streak because he checks back the turn. And I think he can have many showdown value hands like pocket pairs. So I would like to go for the range fold here. I bet 3x pot, $180 into $60, and we get it through. Next hand here, a pro open to $15 in the hijack. We call on the cutoff with queen jack of hearts. Not a big fan of flatting an open, but he is a professional. We can't win the most money out of him, but by calling, we can invite the fishes in the blinds to come along where they will make the biggest mistake. And a recreational player on the button makes it to $60. Hijack folds. Although we are out of position, we have the post-flop edge versus him, so we call, heads up to a flop of queen 10-3 with 2 diamonds. We check to him, he bet $40 into 137. I think it's a range bet. We have the top pair, we call, turns a 4 of club. We check and he checks back. River's a 3 of spades. So what is his range? When he checks back the turn, I don't think he has overpairs here, but he can have hands like pocket jacks, some 10x like ace 10, or pocket 9s. So how much would I bet to fold out those hands? I may go $250 here because the front door flush draw missed. So I size down to $150 into 217, but he folds.
It's coaching time.
What is his range when he bets small on the flop and then checks back on the turn?
Ace high, jacks.
That's it.
That's it.
If he has jacks, why did he check back the turn?
You afraid that I has queen?
Yeah, what's his plan going to be on the river if he has jacks? If the river bricks?
Call.
Again, AK-47 to your head. The board pairs on the river. Do they get more sticky or less sticky?
More sticky.
The front door flush misses. The board pairs. The open and straight draws miss. How sticky is jacks going to be on this river?
Pretty sticky.
Okay, so I think the problem with this size is it's way too small to target jacks and it's way too big to target ace king. We're going to use a musket now. Musket pointed at your head. How big are you going to get pocket jacks to fold on this specific river?
300.
Okay, so we go 250 for value here to get a call, right?
200. And 50 to get called by ace high.
Like, I'm either targeting ace king here or I'm going to target jacks. Choose the size that accomplishes that. We have a jack in our hand, which makes it less likely, you know, it reduces the combos from 6 to 3. Maybe we just target ace king here and go 50, 60 bucks. But like, if we're targeting jacks, just go 250.
In this hand, low jack limps with ISO to $25 in the cutoff with pocket kings. Low jack calls, heads up to a flop of queen 10-4 with 2 hearts. Low jack checks, I bet $25 into 52 and he calls. Turns a 10 of spades. He checks again. The pot is now $100. He got about $150 left. So I like to bet half pot here. Setting up a 0.5 SPR on the river. So I bet $50 into 102 and he calls. River's a 7 of diamonds. And surprisingly, he goes all in about $93 effective. Of course, we snap it off and he tables pocket 4s, hitting a set on the flop. Wow. Nice hand. Next hand here, we open to $20 in the low jack with ace 9 of diamonds. Cutoff calls, heads up to a flop of 10-9-3 rainbow. In a single raise pot out of position, I am checking my range. We check and he check back. Turns a 5 of hearts. So what is his range when he check back the flop? I don't think he has some strong hands like top pair, 2 pair, or sets. So I would like to check again here, incentivize him to bet with his air or backdoor flush draws. We check and he bets $30 into 42. I really hope I could find the check raise here because most of the time we have the best hand here when he checks back the flop. But in game I didn't realize that. I like to just call and reverse an 8 of hearts. We check, he checks back. We show our hand and we win. Next hand, hijack open to $25. Cutoff calls. We look down at JJ Barea in the small blind and we squeeze to 125. Hijack folds and surprisingly cutoff moves all in about $244 effective. Of course, we call it off. Flop comes jack 4 deuce. Look at the sweet baby there. Turns a 3 of hearts. Reverse a 7 of club. We show our hand and she tables pocket aces. Haha, you know why JJ Barea is my GOAT. Next hand here, we open to $20 in early position with ace king of diamonds. Low jack calls, heads up to a flop of bang! Queen jack 10 rainbow. In a single raise pot out of position, I am checking my range versus recreational players. We check and unfortunately he checks back. Turns a 3 of hearts. I like to check again and he puts in a bet of $30 into 42. And now I put in a big boy check raise to $250. Targeting hands like 10-9 with an open-ended straight draw or some queen x that he checks back the flop. And also a set of 3s if he has it. But unfortunately he folds. But I think I've already get the max out of this hand because if I see bet the flop or betting the turn, his air is just gonna fold. But if we check, we allow him to pick up some equity, and if he has air, he might start bluffing with it. Big pot alert. Hello. In this hand, button open to $20, we look down at king 9 offsuit on the big blind. It's my favorite hand. I ain't going anywhere. We call, heads up to a flop which comes 9-9-3 rainbow. Look at the cutie pie. We check, he bet $40. It's a pot size bet. What does it mean? It means he has a strong hand and he loves it. So I don't think slow playing here is good. I put in check raise to $150. He calls, turns a 7 of diamond. He only got about $370 behind. I think I made a little mistake here. I may just check raise to a larger amount on the flop and we can put all the money in on the turn to play 2 straight games. So on this turn, I bet $200 into 337. He calls, reverse a 10 of clubs. No other options except going all in. We put the remaining stack in, he calls, we table our hands, and King 9 is the best. Big pot alert. Again. In this hand, cutoff open to $15. We look down at Queen Jack of diamonds on the big blind. Closing the action in a heads up pot, we call. Flop comes Queen 7-5 with 2 hearts. We check to him who bets pot. We have the top pair and we put in the call. Turns a beautiful Jack of spades. Look at that sweet baby there. We check again and he bets $65 into 77. What is his range? I think he has a lot of strong hands like over pairs, many flush draws, so I put in a big boy check raise to $300. He calls, reverse a 10 of diamond. Not the best card in deck. Ace King get there, but there is not that many combos of Ace King. Probably just Ace King of hearts or Ace King of spades. But he can still have hands like Ace Queen, Pocket Kings, and Pocket Aces. We only got about $450 behind, so we go all in. He calls, we table our hand, and we are good again. Let's go! Moving on to the next hand here, we open to $20 in early position with Ace Jack of diamonds. Hijack and Big Blind come along, so we're 3 ways to a flop of King 10-4 with 2 hearts. In a multi-way pot out of position, I am checking my range. We check and they all check. Turns another King of diamonds, giving us a combo draw. Big Blind and I check to the hijack who bets $50 into 57. Big Blind folds, so what is his range? I think he could possibly check back some King X on the flop. So I don't think I have much full equity here. I like to call and reverse a Queen of heart, giving us a straight and also completing the front door flush. And I would like to lead out here because I don't think he would value bet thinly with his trips on this flush completing river. But if we bet, he may find a call because the backdoor flush missed. So I bet $200 into 155, targeting his King X, but unfortunately he folds. Big pot alert. In this hand, we move to the 5-10 table, which includes an ante of $10. Cutoff open to $50 and we look down at Pocket Kings on the button. We 3-bet to $200, he calls, heads up to the flop which comes Jack 10-10 with 2 clubs. Cutoff checks, in the 3-bet pot in position, I am range betting small. I bet 130 into 420 and he calls. Turns a Queen of spades. He checked to us again. I think on this turn, betting or checking is somewhere close because his under pairs are not going to call. But if we face a check raise on this turn, our life sucks. So I like to check back and reverse a beautiful 9 of hearts, giving us the straight. And cutoff bets $400 into 680. What is his range? Yeah, we lose to Ace King, we lose to Pocket 9s, but I think this player is capable of bluffing his missed draws, so I put in a call and he shows Pocket 5s. See how powerful it is to check back our thin failure on the turn and let the aggressive player to bluff on the river. Next hand here, we open to $40 in the cutoff with my queens. Button, small blind, and big blind come along, so we have 4 ways to a flop of 8-7-5 with 3 clubs. Small blind and big blind check to us. In a multi-way pot, I am just c-betting my strong hands or strong draws. I don't think our hand is strong enough to c-bet in this monotone flop multi-way, so we check and buttons check back. Turns a 10 of heart. Small blind leads $120. Big blind fold. What is his range? Of course he can have some flushes, but also he could be betting a top pair like ace 10 with the ace of club. So I like to call, button fold, so we heads up to the river which comes a 4 of spades. Small blind check. I don't think he has a flush, so I would like to value bet here, targeting 10x to call, and I bet $200 into 400s. Small blind calls, we show our hand, but he tables 10-8 offsuit. We lose to a 2 pair. Big pot alert. In this hand, low jack limps, cutoff calls. We look down at ace king of clubs on the button and we ISO to $80. Low jack fold, cutoff calls, so we heads up to a flop of king x7 rainbow. In a 3-bet pot in position, I am range betting small. I bet $100 into 190 and he calls. Turns a deuce of spades. Cutoff check again. I would like to target king x and some inelastic hands like combo draws. I put in the overbet of $600 into 390. 20. Good news for us, cutoff calls, and we heads up to the river, which comes another king of hearts. Cutoff check, we got about 3k behind. How much would I fold out a king here? The answer is NA. I won't bluff in this spot because I don't think a king X is ever folding. So I go all in, about 2x pot, $3,000 into 1500s. He tanks and tanks and tanks and finally finds the fold. After taking down this huge pot, we ask whether he has a king or not, and he says,
"You don't have a king, right?"
If I have a king, I snap.
yeah, so I'm happy to find that 2x all-in size on the river to get the max value out of king X if he has one. Next hand here, we're playing double board, no limit hold'em bomb pot. We are in the early position with 10-8 of diamonds. Top board is queen h6 and the second board is ace jack 8. Flop goes check through, turns the jack of spades for board 1 and a 7 of hearts on board 2. And it goes check through again. River's a beautiful 8 of club for board 1 and a king of diamond on board 2. All the way check to us. I would like to value bet here. I bet $100 into 400s, low jack fold, and a professional in the hijack raised to $420. Other players get out of the way. I think it's very hard for us to lose both board, except he has hands like pocket queens, pocket jacks, and I think those hands are start betting the turn, so we push in the call and he tables king 10 offsuit. Wow, the first time I see a player bluff in a multi-way bomb pot. The regs in Vegas are really aggressive. And at the end, we chop this up. Big pot alert. Hijack open to $50. We look down at pocket kings in a small blind and with 3-bet to 325. And now hijack moves all in about 1500s effective. Wow, I don't think aces play this way. Ace king could play this way. Queens could play this way, jacks could play this way, so we have the best hand here. We call, flop comes queen jack 6, turns the 7, and the rivers is a deuce. And look what he got, he tables pocket aces. What the hell? Why he just 4-bet shove his aces with 150 big blinds effective? I guess I'll never know why. I just know I lost a huge pot. Moving on to the next hand, under the gun limps, we ISO to $60 on the button with ace king offsuit, and a recreational player in the big blind 3-bet to $310. So recreational players are underbluffed, especially in the blinds position, so their range is very strong. We have the position post flop. I don't want to put in a 4-bet versus a strong range, so we call, heads up to a flop of 8-3 deuce rainbow. He bet $460 into 630. Nothing we can do with our ace king here. The odds is not good for us to continue chasing for an ace or king, so we fold. Alright, last hand of this session. Under the gun opens to $30. EPN cutoff call. We look down at ace 10 of clubs on the button. Normally I would squeeze here, but this under the gun player he is very tight. Our hand performed good in a multi-way pot with the best position post flop, so I elect to call. And interestingly, small blind puts in the 3-bet to $140. Under the gun calls, EPN cutoff, get out of the way. We have the position, so we call. 3 ways to a flop, which comes ace jack 3 with 2 diamonds. Small blind and under the gun check, so what are their range? I don't think small blind has an ace here. If he has hands like ace king, he will start betting the flop, so I would like to value bet here, targeting hands like pocket kings, pocket queens. I bet $140 into 500. Small blind folds under the gun call, so we're heads up to the turn, which comes a queen of club. He checks. I think our hand is too thin to bet here, so I would like to check back and evaluate the river. River's another jack of hearts, and now UTG leads $420 into 775. What is his range? He may be bluffing with miss first draw, but I don't think this player will bet this big with his bluffs, so I think he has hands like pocket queens or even queen jack. I don't think our top pair is good here, and I fold. Hey guys, log in a session we played last night at the Wynn poker room. I play both 2-5 and 5-10. I would say the games in Vegas are great on the weekend. I would definitely love to come back here and spend more time in different card rooms in Vegas later. So for the result, we win 1500 and some change. We made a charge of rating different games in the country. I hope you guys like it. Have a good day. Hey guys, today I would like to do a comparison between Macau, LA, and Vegas poker. So let's begin with Macau. I would say the vibe of the poker rooms in Macau are pretty good. I played in Venetian, Wynn, and MGM, and I would say MGM is the best place to go. They have great service, great staffs, amazing food and drinks. But in Phoenician, maybe the atmosphere, the environment are not so great, but they have a large player pool. So overall, I would give a B+ to the room vibe in Macau. And secondly, the softness of games. I would only give a B to the Macau games because many of the players are pretty tight and passive, so not that great comparing to US. And third, the rake. The rake in Macau is crazily high. Let's say we're playing 5-10, the smallest game in Macau. They're taking 5% off from the winning pot, 5 big blinds cap. That means if you're playing 5-10 and the pot is $1,000, they're raking $50. So I would only give a C to the rake structure in Macau. And next, LA. I've played in Commerce and Hustler in LA, and I would give a solid B+ to the rooms in LA. Great place to play, very helpful staff, especially in Hustler, and their food are just amazing. And for the softness of the game, I would give an A- in LA. Not that many competitive players in mid or low stake, and still there are a lot of people splashing around. And third, the rake. For the games in Commerce and Hustler, they're taking a $7 flat drop. That means no matter how big is the pot, they are only taking $7. So a very big difference versus Macau, and it matters to your win rate. So I would give a B+ to the rake structure in LA. And lastly, Vegas. I've only played in Resorts World and Wynn Poker Room in Vegas, and I would give an A to their rooms. Everything's clean and decent, very enjoyable to play there. And secondly, the softness of games. I would only give a B on this because in Vegas, there are more regulars playing in Vegas, and they know what they're doing, especially in stakes like 5-10 or above. And lastly, the rake in Vegas is even better than in LA. For a 5-5 game in Wynn Poker Room, they are only taking $5 flat drop. So in overall, I would give a B- to the games in Macau, A- to the game in LA, and a B+ to the games in Vegas. I hope this information helps, and I'll see you next time.